I'm Julianne Zimmerman, Managing Director with Reinventure Capital, based in Boston, Massachusetts. We have a fund based here in the States, investing here in the States, in companies led by people of color and/or women. We invest across sectors in companies that can grow profitably to become economic engines. Our impact objective is to begin to break the persistent asymmetry in access to capital for overlooked founders, to grow companies that create value for their stakeholders and for their investors. The Reinventure investment thesis and approach hews very closely to the approach successfully pioneered by my senior partner, Ed Duggar, with his previous fund. Starting in the 80s, he led a group called Urban National Corporation Partners, UNC Partners, which invested intentionally in companies led by people of color. And that was long before there was such a thing as impact investing. Certainly the term did not exist then, and it was not part of the prevailing awareness, let's say, in the investment community. Nevertheless, as a pioneer in that space, Ed very successfully led that investment practice not only to achieve significant social impact and to meet or exceed all of their impact objectives, but also to grow up a number of successful companies. More than 2/3 of the companies in their portfolio returned more than invested. And they returned as a fund 32% IRR to their investors. So successful across the board. We are now rebooting that investment approach essentially, and with a very similar mandate, a very similar set of objectives, and a very similar methodology. The one significant alteration we're making is to explicitly say people of color and women. That was implicit in the previous fund and is explicit now. The reason that it's so important and so timely to have a fund focused on investing in companies led by people of color and women is because we have seen over the last 20 years plus in the US and beyond that most or all of wealth creation and most or all of job creation have come from young, small, growing companies. This has been an incredible economic engine for the United States and other countries. At the same time, over that same period, the overwhelming majority of capital, both equity and debt capital, has been channeled to a very small segment, a very small subgroup of entrepreneurs, namely men, particularly straight, white, US-born men from a small number of universities, moreover operating in 4 cities. What this means is that by no one's design, no one's economic policy, no one's express intention, we have created the financial inequity that the World Economic Forum characterized in their annual report last January as the #1 threat to global economic security. So that's an economic imperative. There's also an investment imperative. When there is such a concentration of capital in one small part of the market, that opens an opportunity for investors to find significant opportunity in other parts of the market. So that market dislocation presents an investment imperative. Then there's also a moral or ethical imperative. We believe that in a society which values social justice, it's really unacceptable for all of the opportunity, or substantially all of the opportunity, to be channeled to a very small subset of the population. We see all of those, the economic, the investment, the ethical, as being interconnected and in fact inextricable from one another. And we see a tremendous opportunity to invest, as Ed did with his previous fund, in companies led by people of color and women that can grow profitably, that can become economic engines, that can create wealth and jobs for a significant and diverse set of people. Reinventure Capital focuses on companies led by founders of color and women, specifically companies in the US that are at or about break even and that can grow profitably, because we see those founders and those companies as creators of wealth and jobs that have tremendous economic, financial, and social value.